Hi, my name is Nicholas Bell. I'm the chief film critic with IONCINEMA, and it's my great pleasure to be speaking with Gerard and Christopher Renz, the directors of Antebellum, otherwise known
Hi,
as.
nice to see you. Hey.
You're otherwise known as a duo, Bush plus Renz.
Yep.
So Antebellum was, I consider, one of the most important, one of my favorite films of 2020. Just a complete pleasure to be able to speak about it, and all of my conversations I've had with various people since I saw it in September. I know that this was planned for a theatrical release that was delayed due to the pandemic, but I remember watching both of you provided a statement before the original release about how this definitely felt like a film that was speaking to our times. So I want to go back to talking about the origins of the story. It's my understanding that Eden, the character, came up as a nightmare for Gerard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we first moved to Los Angeles a few years ago, I was dealing with a lot of life issues that were sort of happening simultaneously with the sudden death of my dad and my brother. A lot of things were happening that were really traumatizing and disorienting for me. And I try to translate my dreams and to use what pieces that I can, because obviously there's something coming from the deep subconscious of the mind that could be really meaningful for storytelling. But this particular nightmare felt like something else. And I was so moved by it and I couldn't shake it. And the fact that I was having this nightmare about this woman, and that it felt that her desperation to get help was so powerful that she was communicating across dimensions to reach people. That's the only way I could describe it. So after the nightmare, I wrote down all of the finer points, and C and I had a conversation about it, and we had no intention of making it into a film. We were just writing the short story, and the short story was going to be a thing that lived on its own. And it wasn't until we were connected with Zeb Foreman, who was the producer of Dallas Buyers Club, who fell in love with the short story, who said, hey, you guys should write the script. We should do this. And that's when we wrote the script. But, for us, I felt like, I know as a Black American that, I never would have thought in a million years that our first film, or that I would ever make a film about slavery in any way. And I knew that it was going to be, there was going to be a lot of opinions about something so provocative. And so I didn't know, I felt, at least to a certain extent, that it had come from a pure place, from an ancestral place. And so because of that, I think, we felt some confidence in moving forward and feeling like this was the right thing for us to make at this time.
I mean, reading about the trajectory, about the bidding war with Lionsgate winning and you both having to go to the DGA to kind of plead a case to be a duo, and have Janelle Monáe attached right away, and have it come out, be released at the time culturally with what's happening, I'm sure feels like fate, almost. But
I'll take it.
I'm sure you're both aware that it's quite a polarizing film. But I'm assuming that was not surprising, that it would kind of land kind of like a juggernaut, kind of with people's approach to interpreting what happens in the film. Because of course it is, I think, a brilliant metaphor, but clearly also hits a nerve in that it also doesn't feel like a metaphor. So Janelle Monáe was cast beforehand, before any of this happened. Did the rest of your casting just kind of fall into place after that?
Yeah, everything. We had the best casting director, Lori Mayfield, and she put these folks in front of us that were just incredible, and we were so excited and inspired every time we got, you know, another actor attached. But we were also really happy to get a couple of actors that weren't known so much. I mean, we were so thrilled with the actor that played Eli in the film. Yeah. He was just so incredible, and we were incredibly happy with that.
But I mean, I think we try to go out of our way to find best in class department heads to really help to make the movie all that it could be. And Lorraine Mayfield, because she is such, I think, a Hollywood classic in terms of a casting director, and she would put people in front of us that we might not have even considered or thought about. And she gave us the room, the acreage, to be able to explore and to have different ideas about specific cast. But we're just so fortunate that we were able to assemble with someone like Lorraine, you know, the people that we did. I mean, it's kind of like we would have these meetings with these actors, and I, for one, would, you know, I'd ask them, like, do you want to do this? Like, because we just didn't think that it was going to be as smooth a lift, you know, to get people to join such a provocative film, but they did.
Yeah, I've been a fan of Janelle Monáe for a long time, and it was difficult to see her in this capacity. Although, you know, she does an excellent job. But yes, there are many elements that were shocking in the film. Can we talk about the music from that opening single shot with the soundtrack? Is it from Janelle Monáe's team? Nate Wonder and Roman John Arthur.
Yep. Yeah, they did an incredible job.
I mean, we were obsessed with Hitler's obsession with Wagner, and we wanted, we wanted to tip the hat a little bit, you know, for history buffs. You know, when you hear that score in the beginning and how dramatic and sweeping it is, but for us, we wanted the sonic identity of the film to reflect some of these clues that we're trying to give our audience about, you know, these are in fact, the neo-fascism, the Nazis, the Confederates of a new era, but they are really obsessed with the cult of Hitler and Germany. We're also really interested in how a collective psychopathy can metastasize through a society in such a way, and we wanted the music to feel like that. We wanted it to feel beautiful and urgent all at the same time, and those guys are so brilliant.
Yeah, it's a fantastic score. I also wanted to ask the use of Warm Leatherette by the Normal, which of course Grace Jones had a very different cover of that song, but watching it, I think that's perfectly used and put me in I'm kind of obsessed with J.G. Ballard's Crash and how that song was born out of that, and had me thinking as it's playing as the moment where Lizzo's Juice is playing in the Cars Veer Away. It's like a separation, like a crash that needs to happen but is not. We're going in opposite directions. I think every moment is packed with intent, even from the opening Faulkner quote. My husband and I had many immediately after watching the film back in September. We seemed to focus a lot on Gabourey Sidibe's character. Mm-hmm. In all of moments of levity that are much needed, of course, in that scene, but also just the dread and all of the very notable microaggressions that are happening with Janelle's character and Don Gabourey. Can you speak about casting of Gabourey Sidibe? Was this character like this in the script? Because I'm imagining that she brought her own kind of energy and take to Dawn?
Dawn is actually written that way,
Okay.
but no one, neither of us, could have imagined Gabourey bringing the character to life in the way that she did.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she added a dimension to Dawn that neither Chris nor myself even knew existed. She's that good of an actor. And so she certainly brought her own take of Dawn, but Dawn, is an incredibly, obviously animated character, but also someone who refuses to serve as a co-conspirator in her own dehumanization, and that she's going to stand in her power, and that she's going to, we told Gab when we first started talking about the character, imagine a young woman who was raised in Martha's Vineyard, who, just her parents never really told her no. She didn't have this idea, because I think there's something really interesting about Black kids who grow up having things and being told that they're beautiful and being told that they're smart and that the entire world is out there for them, and that the society that they live in that's reflected back to them, it actually confirms that belief. And that's what Gab's character and what she brought to it, and the contours that she brought to Dawn were just exceptional. We couldn't have been any happier with her, and we intend on working with her again and again and again, every opportunity that we have.
Outside of the film, we just love Gabourey. She's just such a joy.
She's become a very dear friend.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I love seeing her, so it was an excellent performance from her as well. And going back to a point you just made about, it reminds me of kind of like Solange Knowles, somebody that has just been able to exist and can put out their craft and their art without just being an original voice, kind of without having to deal with all of that. And I would love to talk for much longer about Antebellum, but I also wanted to highlight the other things you're working on. There's a second film, Rapture, that I understand is in development, and then you just netted a deal with HBO for Inkwell, which you're writing and directing the opening and closing segments of that series. If you want to add any details about that, I'd love to hear.
Well, Rapture, we're incredibly passionate about Rapture, and I would like to be able to give you some detail about it, but then that would spoil the film. But what I can say, or what we can say, is that it is about the sudden disappearance globally of millions of people. And we'll leave it there. But okay, we're super excited about the film. We are moving in pre-production very quickly with Lionsgate. The idea is to have the film out for next year. So we're really in full gear and going, especially now that we see a light at the end of the tunnel with COVID. On the other side, with Inkwell, that's a project that we've been excited about, that was created by us, that we wrote from the ground up. We already had the pilot, and then we went, we didn't go out like we did with Rapture and Antebellum. We really felt like HBO was the place we wanted to be for this particular show. Okay. And glad that we did. They are great partners, and I think that they're going to help us create our first television show. Hopefully it's going to be really extraordinary, because there are characters, obviously, as being a same-sex couple, a gay duo, it's really important to us that we also demonstrate characters that are from our communities with nuance and with respect. And I think Inkwell and Rapture, that is, in a way, it is going to shift the mindset of how we think about, our communities and how they're represented, without, being about that. It is just, we're here and we're living our lives, and we are multidimensional, and we have, there's a nuance to the characters in the same way that there is with us in our own lives. And that's also very important to us in our storytelling. So we're excited to get on screens large and small and continue to have these conversations with hopefully a growing audience of people that are interested in what we have to say.
Well, I'm definitely interested in what you both have to say. Congratulations on Antebellum, which it's a difficult film. Even rewatching it last night, getting through the first 38 minutes is, you get through it. But it's very much a pleasure getting to speak with both of you. I love the film, and we'll continue to champion it and look forward to anything that comes next. So thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
So much.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Great.
Hey, this is Eric from IONCINEMA.com. If you want to support us, subscribe below. For more reviews, interviews, film festival coverage from Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, you want to check out these guys on this side.